Abyssal Whispers. The sea, a vast, endless expanse that covers more of our world than the land, holds mysteries that have intrigued mankind since time immemorial. It was in the year 2027 that a team of intrepid researchers, driven by both scientific curiosity and the insatiable human urge to explore the unknown, descended into the twilight depths of the Atlantic Ocean. They established their base of operations, the underwater research lab Nephilim. Nephilim was a marvel of modern engineering, a pressurized habitat designed to withstand the crushing abyssal depths. It was built into the side of a massive undersea trench, known to geologists and oceanographers as the Midnight Chasm. The chasm's depths reached further than any manned or unmanned submersible had dared to plunge, a place shrouded in darkness and whispered legends among sailors and scientists alike. Dr. Elias Thorne, the lead oceanographer, was a man whose obsession with the chasm bordered on the fanatical. He had dedicated his career to uncovering the secrets buried beneath the ocean's surface. His team comprised marine biologist Dr. Hannah Liddell, engineer Victor Harland, mathematician Dr. Claire Evans, and the stalwart diver Jonas Reed. Together, they formed a cadre of the world's top minds, united in their quest to unravel the enigma of the deep. From the moment Nephilim was pressurized and the lab's artificial lights flickered to life, an eerie stillness seemed to pervade the space. Outside the confines of the lab, the ocean stretched out in impenetrable darkness, illuminated only by the occasional bioluminescent flash from unseen creatures. The constant hum of the lab's life support systems was the only sound that penetrated the silence. It was on the 15th day that they encountered the first anomaly. The lab's sensors picked up a series of odd seismic readings emanating from deep within the trench.
These patterns, they're too regular, almost as if
they're artificially created.
Intrigued and driven by an inexplicable urgency, the team deployed the deep-sea probe Orpheus into the trench. As Orpheus descended, the cameras relayed images of an increasingly alien and bizarre landscape, twisted rock formations and peculiar structures that bore a disconcerting resemblance to ancient ruins. The further they ventured, the more distorted and grotesque the architecture became, as if the very laws of geometry were corrupted by some eldritch influence. Then, as Orpheus neared what appeared to be the mouth of a vast subterranean cavern, contact was lost. Mere static replaced the feed, and the probe's signal vanished without a trace. In the days that followed, the sense of unease within Nephilim grew. Strange, unaccountable phenomena began to plague the lab. Equipment malfunctioned inexplicably, shadows moved where there should have been none, and a pervasive, almost sentient whisper seemed to echo through the halls. It was not long before the team's nerves began to fray.
One night, Jonas Reed vanished without a trace. The last recorded footage showed him walking down a corridor, his flashlight flickering before it abruptly extinguished, leaving him swallowed by darkness. When the light reappeared, he was gone. The only sign of his passage was a trail of wet footprints leading to the lab's exterior hatch.
Driven by increasing paranoia and dread, the team held a meeting, their faces haggard and eyes haunted.
We need to leave. Jonas is gone. We've lost contact with the surface. The chasm is... There's something out there, something malignant.
2 nights later, the lab's alarms erupted into deafening claxons. A breach. Water began to flood the lowest level of Nephilim, icy and merciless. As they scrambled to contain the damage, they saw what had caused the breach, a monstrous, cephalopodic entity, unlike anything cataloged by marine biology. Its immense, writhing tentacles and bulbous, unblinking eyes hinted at a primordial and malevolent intelligence. The creature's invasion was swift and brutal. Victor was the first to fall, dragged away by a serpentine appendage as he screamed, his desperate pleas echoing uselessly through the metal corridors. Realizing the hopelessness of their situation, the surviving members, Thorne, Liddell, and Evans, retreated to the control room. Their only hope lay in activating the emergency submersible and abandoning Nephilim. Frantically, they prepared the vessel, their hands shaking as they worked. As the submersible powered on, another tremor rocked the lab. The water level rose inexorably, bringing with it the lurking horror that began to breach the control room door.
Thorne, come on.
Dr. Liddell, despite the terror in her eyes, managed to launch the submersible.
It's here, the source. I found it.
Thorne remained transfixed by one of the monitors, a wild, manic grin on his face. Before they could pull him away, the control room door gave way, and the abomination poured in, tentacles lashing around, enveloping Dr. Thorne in a grotesque embrace. Liddell and Evans had no choice but to seal the hatch and begin their ascent. As the submersible ascended, they watched through the tiny portholes as Nephilim, once a beacon of human ingenuity, was consumed by the hungry abyss.
Whatever we found down there, it was never meant to be disturbed. We might have unleashed something beyond comprehension.
The submersible surfaced a few hours later. The 2 survivors were eventually rescued, their accounts met with disbelief and skepticism. The official report cited equipment failure and deep-sea pressure anomalies, but Liddell and Evans knew the truth. They had glimpsed the unknown, stirred the ancient and the eldritch. The midnight chasm whispered secrets meant to remain buried in the dark recesses of the earth. And though they had escaped with their lives, the nightmares would follow them forever, a reminder of the terrible price of uncovering the incomprehensible. And among its infinite secrets lurked things best left undisturbed, eldritch horrors and abyssal whispers that could drive even the strongest minds to madness.